Hey guys, it's RebelQueen. Okay, I'm a little bit behind on doing this review, so forgive me. Things have been hectic over here at my house. Just lots of crazy stuff, basically. Um, Mom had some stuff going on. We finally got word back from the lawyers regarding the car crash situation, and instead of this being over and getting our settlement money and stuff lickety split like it should have been, the guy we hired to take care of this stuff is apparently, they're going, oh, we handle all this stuff as if we're going to court, so it's going to take us, it's pretty much going to be like another 4 to 6 months. And I want you guys to remember, this wreck happened back in September. Now, some of the time for all this stuff, considering for my injuries, I did go to physical therapy because the pain in my the pain in my right leg was really severe. I could not be walking or standing on it for long before it really became too much. So the time in physical therapy and stuff, and then them having to do all that stuff and of course when I had to, and of course an emergency room visit, because one day I woke up and I was like, oh my freaking god. And then sending them all the stuff like, this is what we paid out of pocket for having to replace stuff from the wreck. But it's like, this is ridiculous. But namaste. So it's like, it's been a little difficult to try and keep up with stuff, especially considering how long it takes for stuff to sometimes get subbed and stuff. But anyway, sorry for that little mini rant. Anyway, like I said, I'm a little bit behind. Mashin Sentai Kiramaiger actually wrapped a couple weeks ago, and we've actually kind of started on the new Sentai show, which, like I said, it wrapped a few weeks ago. They're actually a couple episodes into the new series, so when we hit 5 episodes in on that one, I'll go a little more detail in on that, so no surprises just yet on that one. But for Mashin Sentai Kiramaiger, the series turned out pretty good, and Beauty, sorry, you guys have seen it when I've got one of the cats wanting to be a little helpful. The series turned out pretty good, and some of the stuff, I was like, I turned out being half right, half wrong when it came to the Sixth Ranger, because, yeah, he ended up somewhat being from Crystalia, but at the same time, no. Because basically, for the Sixth Ranger, what happened was, if you followed Kiramaiger, the king who turned out to be Princess Mabushina's father actually came to Earth beforehand to try and find stuff and kind of create a connection here on Earth. Well, one of the people he'd become friends with, he had 2 sons. One of the sons actually becomes pretty much the head of Carrot, who the Rangers go to for to try and for their tech stuff and all that. But the other son, who's actually the older brother of the head guy, well, apparently when they were checking out stuff the king was looking at and stuff, he was seriously injured, and the king was like, oh, I'll just take him back to Crystalia and help him. Well, because of what happened, the Sixth Ranger basically became an adoptive prince of Crystalia. So, I was half right, half wrong on that. But then again, if you've been keeping track of the whole Super Sentai / Power Rangers stuff, that's kind of the norm in the Super Sentai Power Ranger world for how that situation kind of goes. Along with kind of like some of the stuff we can kind of expect whenever they do kind of it, depending on like how they, if they bring Kiramaiger over into the U.S. for a Power Ranger adaptation. I mean, because right now they're actually doing the Solgers as the current Power Rangers, so which I actually kind of need to check that one out because I'm interested to see how they're doing all that stuff. I mean, I've heard one of my friends kind of had watched a few episodes, so I'm kind of interested to see how that one's turning out. Because that was Solgers was pretty interesting as a Super Sentai, considering how much Japan loves their dinos. But Kiramaiger's turned out pretty well, especially with like all the different gem and how Juru, the Red Ranger, kept on having all the different connections with Oradon, and then he was able to come up with like all the different vehicle formations for the gems, or even just the power-up options for the Ranger, so it's pretty interesting. And in fact, we even actually got a little bit of a throwback to Geki Rangers in the series, because we didn't see any of the Geki Rangers themselves, but we did see Mickey and her daughter all grown up, because they say, yeah, the Geki, pretty much Scratch was pretty much like, you could say, as they put it in the series, Scratch was pretty much like the predecessor to Carrot. And they go to explain like the whole Geki Ranger thing. In fact, Mickey and sorry, it's been so long since watching Geki Ranger, and her daughter are pretty much like using all of John's little euphemisms from like how he's saying Zoa Zoa and all that, and Senna, who is pretty much testing out some of their equipment, is like, huh? And only Juru was really getting it, which kind of is like, yeah, Red Rangers kind of think alike. But then, because she actually kind of because of course the bad guys kind of take advantage of this, she's like, they kind of pretty much take Mickey and her daughter hostage and use the device that Senna is testing, and Senna's like, hey, what's going on? And they use some of the words, and Senna's like, oh. So they kind of turn that whole situation to their advantage. Honestly, when I first watched that episode, I was kind of like, well, as glad as I am to see these two and there's a little bit of a connection going on here, it would have been nice to see if they couldn't have brought the other actors back and we get to see some of the Geki Rangers. But overall, the Kiramaiger season was really good, so I'm kind of like, and like I said, when I did the 5-episode in evaluation, this is definitely kind of one of the more kid-friendly, I think, Sentais, because, I mean, yeah, there is like all the fighting and stuff, but they really don't have any of the whole, unlike some of the other sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. Unlike some of the other previous Super Sentai, they don't really have a whole lot of, this character, they don't have a big defining character death moment until like, say like the very endish, but I'm not gonna really spoil it. And even then, it's kind of like, because of the whole gem concept where they're like, they can live on in these gems, it's like, is he really truly dead? and just because, and even then with the whole concept of the whole, if you go and pretty much try and focus on your dreams, or if you pretty much put your all into whatever field you're going for, you're going to shine, which is seen throughout the series pretty much with Senna and her track, Tametono and his esports, Juru and his art, oh god, just finished this and I'm having trouble remembering. The Pink Ranger and her being like this, and her really good doctoring, and the Blue Ranger and his acting, so it's like I said, it basically is like really kind of one of the more kid-friendly and supportive shows in the Super Sentai lineup. So it really does kind of make me interested to see how this next series is going to kind of play out. Which I will kind of give you guys more info on that one when I do the 5-episode evaluation. But so far, just from the first few episodes that the first couple episodes that have been watched, it does really kind of look interesting. But as you kind of know, as they've kind of made this running gag in the Super Sentai at the end of the series, they do the Ranger pass on. It was really funny when Juru Kiramaiger was doing the pass off to the leader of the next group. Basically, they kind of had like a little handoff issue, so it was kind of funny. So, and also as we kind of see from the leader's costume for this next group, it's going to be interesting because his costume isn't like the standard, oh, he's a pure Red Ranger, because his costume is kind of more of the like whole multicolor thing, like Ace, the or number 1 or whatever his name is, from I think it was Dynaman or something, or Dynaman, or one of the earlier Sentais. You guys will know who I'm talking about because he generally showed up in like quite a few of the big Super Sentai movies, and he would be like pretending to be like this old guy, and then he's like still, and then when he's like in his shows up as his true himself, he's like handing off a rose to one of the female Super Sentais, and he's like, don't worry, as we're all here together, we will defeat nothing can beat us. So his costume is kind of reminiscent of that. But so it's gonna, which, considering, just for spoilers, this next Sentai is the 45th Sentai, so I'll kind of get more into that when I do the 5-episode evaluation, so yeah. But back to Kiramaiger. So it's like the series progressed wonderfully. It had its little twists and turns, especially when the 6th Ranger was introduced, because of a lot of yeah, they kind of really worked in a lot of really like little twists and turns, and I mean literally twists and turns. You had to keep watching all the way to the end, because it's like apparently the main bad guy, apparently he started his conquest take on Crystalia like way back. So it's like which then kind of led to everything going on now. So it's like, holy crud. It's like, you started this after, because it's like after we got to the point where Emperor Yodon is explaining everything, and it's like, holy crap, you started this when? Which kind of explains like how things kind of progressed to the way to where they did now, but so definitely definitely if you kind of want to ease your younger kids into Super Sentai, definitely would be the series to start with, and then maybe then kind of then start getting then kind of maybe then kind of you might want to start picking and choosing through them. I would say Tokyoger, I'm sorry if I'm mispronouncing that, would probably be the next best one. Or like along the lines of another kid-friendly one for like if you want to introduce your kids to, hey, this is where we get Power Rangers from. Because Kiramaiger and Tokyoger, considering their storylines, they don't really have a lot of the whole they don't have a whole lot of character death stuff, but it should still be pretty okay for your kids to watch and give them a taste of, hey, this is where we get Super Sentai from. But kind of warn them that Tokyo it probably, that one is we may or may not ever get an adaptation of Power Rangers for that series. And then you can kind of start kind of going, okay, which one am I going to introduce them to next? But then again, that's kind of up to you. If you've, especially considering if you've ever, depending on which Super Sentai series you've ever watched, then you can, and depending on how mentally fit you see your child as, and if they can handle character deaths and stuff, because I don't know about you, but on some of those, especially if you've kind of grown to love the character, you kind of go, no! Or if they redeem themselves good enough that you were kind of, like I said, you go, no! Kind of like how, as we kind of see, kind of like what happened with Zeo Ranger, which is where we got the first season of Power Rangers from. That's kind of what happened. The Green Ranger in that series got killed, which is why Tommy lost the green power coin. But, well, there's more to that story, but I'm not going to go into it here. Because, like I said, this is supposed to be my Kiramaiger, but I'm kind of going all over the place. But, yeah, the series was good, and it did have like I said, the series was good. It had lots of little interesting little tidbits to kind of make, like I said, that made it more one of the more kid-friendly Super Sentais. But at the same time, it really kind of made you go, that kept you on, that still made it work for even the older fans of Super Sentai. Because like I said, I'm watching and I'm kind of going, and it was all around fun. So, without trying to keep bias out of it, I'd say at least a 9 on a scale of 1 to 10, because, I mean, Obviously, there were maybe a couple little points they could have done better, or maybe, just for the sheer fact, obviously after watching all the different Super Sentais, you kind of see a little formula going on here. So they probably could have broken away from formula just a bit. Try and spice things up, but considering this is a show mainly for children, but if you've been a fan of Super Sentai or Power Rangers for so long, you kind of understand why they kind of, if it's a winning formula, you go with it deal. But I mean, it's kind of like one of those things that you're kind of like, can't they mess with this one thing just a bit? Well, then at the same time, I kind of also understand that since they know that at one point, possibly that this could get adapted into the US for Power Rangers, they're probably going, okay, we have to try and keep this maybe easy enough for them to do some kind of an adaptation for. So it's like, it's gonna be easy. It's gonna be interesting to see, because I mean, like I said, sorry, I know I'm. If and when they do an adaptation of this one, it's going to be interesting to see how they do it, especially considering I'm kind of wondering if they're going to keep with the whole Red Ranger doing the whole inspiration and drawing stuff, because since that is such a main part of it, or if they're going to just play that off as something else. But like I said, I guess we'll just have to wait and see if Kiramaiger gets its Power Rangers adaptation or not. Because I mean, considering Power Rangers has kind of been jumping all around on, oh, we're going to adapt this next, instead of following the, okay, down the line like they had been, they're now just going jump, 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 jump. I mean, it was kind of understandable on certain Super Sentai that they had to maybe jump over it, because, like I said, on Tokyuger, that one is, with that one's storyline and stuff, it's kind of hard to imagine how they're going to be able to adapt its storyline along with how they do their whole fighting and transformation and stuff. And then, oh god, Kiramaiger. Yeah, that one is also going to be a tough adaptation. With since that one is one of the ones with about 10, 11 Rangers at the last count. Yeah. And not all of them human, so. I mean, don't get me wrong, they pulled the not human card in SPD and stuff, but Kyuranger is more like a space odyssey almost. Ooh. And another one that's going to be hard for them to pull off is Lupin Rangers versus Pat Rangers. So yeah. I'm sorry, I know this was supposed to be the Kiramagers, but kind of turned into a whole Super Sentai thing. I'm sorry, guys. But I'll try to keep things up to date on you guys. As much as the situations will allow, because again, you kind of never know what craziness will happen over here. But anyway, RebelQueen signing out.